welcome to a new video. Today I'm outside, as you can see. It's shiny, beautiful, sunny weather, and I'm testing out the Rode Interview Pro that I purchased with my own money. I'm recording this in two formats. One, directly recording it to the microphone using the built-in storage at 32-bit float, and I'm wirelessly connecting to my Rode Wireless Me that I've got connected to my camera. And I thought I'd test it out without using the supplied Rode wind muffler thing because it's got the Rode logo all over it. I don't really like that too much, but that's what Rode do. They like to slap their logo on all their stuff. But that said, the microphone is really good quality. It sounds great, and I've been pleased with it so far. The reason why I purchased this microphone is that I have an up-and-coming event in a few months' time that I'm going to be bringing this microphone to test it out in different environments. But let's first discuss how you actually connect this microphone to a Rode Wireless Me, for example. So to connect this microphone, it's pretty simple. It is supported with the latest version of the Rode receiver technology. It isn't supported, unfortunately, with the old wireless Go's, which were the original ones. It uses a different wireless technology, but anything that's been brought out recently with Rode, the Wireless Me's, the Go 2s, the Pros, in fact, the Rodecaster Pro 2 and the Duo all have the wireless technology built in, so you can connect and pair this Interview Pro with it. To pair this microphone with a wireless device is really easy. You first of all power the microphone on, and then you tap the button again to put that into pairing mode. And then you can connect it to either, as I said, a Wireless Me, your Rodecaster, or any generation 2 of the wireless devices. Pretty straightforward and simple to get set up. The capsule inside this microphone has an omnidirectional polar pattern, which means that it'll pick up sound all around. It's not directional by any means, which is great because what you want in an interview mode is the ability to be able to move the microphone between you and the interviewee without having too much of a change in the gain and the volume of your voices. Now, there are some built-in things in this microphone as well that will help you with normalizing the levels of your voices, which is gain assist. We'll talk about that when we go back into the studio, but it's useful maybe to have this on so at least the volume levels don't change too much when you're switching between you and the interviewee. Rode claimed that the range of this microphone is over 200 meters. I'm not really going to bother testing that out. I'll let other people test that as they see fit. I prefer to keep my gear pretty close to me. Don't want people to run off with it and all that good stuff. But for me, the way that I'm using this microphone right now is a typical scenario. The camera is over there. The wireless receiver is probably around sort of 2 meters away from me. And that range suits me perfectly fine. I don't need to test it for 200 meters. But if you do want to roam around and be farther away from your camera, then obviously 200 meters is a fantastic range. By default, the microphone comes set up pretty well, but you can configure the microphone and make some changes to it, but you will need the supplied USB-C cable and the software that you can download for free from Rode in order for you to make those changes. So we can go back into the studio and we can take a look at what those configuration changes are and how you get the recordings that you've made directly on the microphone, off the microphone, and into your editing tool of choice. Once you've connected your Rode Interview Pro to your computer, you'll see it come up here in Rode Central. If we click on this, the first menu that you get is the list of all the internal recordings that you've made. You can sort them by oldest versus longest and so on. You can actually color code them as well. And then on the right-hand side are all the export functions. You can set this to custom, or you can have specific settings for your various export destinations. The format, either WAV or MP3, the various sample rates, you've got 48 kilohertz and 44 kilohertz, the various bit depths. Obviously for WAV, we've got the 24 and the 32-bit float, and then you can basically have a setting for normalizing your loudness of your file during the export process. Clicking on any of these files will bring up the actual recording itself, and then you can start playing as and when necessary. If you click on this little gear menu, this is where we get into the gain assist and other settings. This menu shows you a few things about the microphone itself. It's in transmit mode, obviously, and what battery percentage you have currently during its charge. You can disable the gain assist here by turning it off, and then you have a simple mic gain setting as well. The power button has a couple of options. You can change that to being a marker, so every time you press the power button, it can add a marker to the actual audio file itself. The mute button also has a couple of options. By default, it's set to mute, but you can disable this completely so you don't catch it by accident. You can change the LED settings for the microphone itself, which is on the rear of the mic. And then the recording function also has a couple of options. You can disable it completely by turning it off, or you can have it set to always. So as soon as you power the microphone on, it will be recording. The high pass filter as well, you can set here. So if there is a lot of rumble or low frequencies that you want to remove, you can set that. It has two settings, 75 and 100 Hertz. And then you can set the microphone to timeout if it's in standby mode or you're not actually recording. At the bottom, it shows you here how many hours you have left on the internal storage, and the trash can here will format all your recordings as well. And that's basically it for the Rode Central overview. Setting and keeping the right gain levels is one of the hardest parts of recording professional audio. We've all been there and messed up audio from time to time. If your gain is set too high or your subject is too low, then the audio just may be unusable. Now, the Rode Interview Pro uses the same gain assist technology found on the latest generation wireless devices. There is auto mode, which is on by default. This will make the sound smoother and more constant, which can be better when you're recording something like an interview where the sound levels are changing a lot. Then there is dynamic mode, which evens out the sound and keeping it more natural. I would test out both of these if you're planning to use any of them in your production, just to see what works best for you and your specific environment. Now keep in mind that if you're using the built-in recording using 32-bit float, then you won't really need to use any of the gain assist technology. But note that the 32-bit float is only internal to the microphone and isn't passed to the camera or your Rodecaster, for example, via the Wi-Fi connection. So Rode do claim that you can get up to 20 hours of battery life from this device, which is great. I haven't actually tested that because I'm not really using it that much for that extended period of time. But obviously, if you're at an event, then you're only going to need to charge it maybe once every 2 days, and that'll give you enough to go around and do your roaming and things. And speaking of batteries, there are a number of manufacturers now that just bring out gear with non-replaceable batteries. Your batteries will fail over time. We don't know how long that will be. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years. Is that enough time for you to say, okay, well, I've had great use out of this, I'm now going to throw these away and get some new units? It's an interesting one. There are a number of manufacturers that do provide microphones with replaceable batteries. In fact, Rode do make a Interview Pro style microphone that does have a replaceable battery. So why not put a replaceable battery in this? The unit is big enough, I think, to be able to carry and hold a replaceable battery. But over time, your batteries are going to fail. This is the same for all the Rode wireless devices and other manufacturers as well. Let me know what you think in the comments about batteries specifically, and should everything now have a replaceable battery? Who is this microphone for? Well, if you are doing a debate, an interview, things like that, and you want an entry-level, decent quality wireless interview type microphone, then this is the one for you. Is it the best on the market? I've no idea because I haven't tested all of them, but the quality of this microphone I think is really good, and it's better than the built-in capsules on the Wireless Me or the other devices from what I've heard. For me, it's great, it serves a purpose, but just keep in mind that using that 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth, then you may get some interference and it might not be as reliable, especially when you're in a crowded environment with multiple people using these. It'll be interesting to take this to events and play around with it and see what it's like in noisy wireless based environments. But for me, I think it's a great microphone. I think it sounds good and it does the job. At the end of the day, it's just a microphone. You want it to sound good, you want it to be reliable, you want it to be easy to use and easy to connect. And for me, right now, it ticks all those boxes. Leave some comments in the old comments section below and I'll see you in the next video.